Tarantula invasion. Where to spot them and what you need to know. Brace yourself. The tarantula takeover is underway, and you might be surprised by where these eight-legged wanderers are popping up next. Every year, tens of thousands of tarantulas emerge from their hidden underground homes, all driven by one thing, the search for a mate. For anyone with a fear of spiders, this might sound like a living nightmare. But here's where it gets controversial. Scientists insist that the reality's far less frightening than the headlines suggest. Right now, the Southwest is buzzing with activity as the world's largest spiders begin their annual mating migration. Rising spring temperatures and increased moisture coax these secretive creatures out of their burrows, sending them across grasslands and deserts in search of romance. Texas, in particular, is experiencing a full-blown tarantula season, with sightings reported everywhere, from the wilds of South Texas to the outskirts of major cities. According to the Austin American-Statesman, these spiders are making their presence known in a big way. And this is the part most people miss. Even lifelong residents of these regions may never have seen a tarantula in the wild. As Dr. Chris Hamilton, an associate professor at the University of Idaho, explains, tarantulas are masters of stealth, rarely venturing above ground except during this brief window each year. So, if you spot one, consider yourself lucky or unlucky, depending on your perspective. But Texas isn't the only hotspot. Starting in October and continuing through November, states like California, Colorado, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arizona, and New Mexico will also witness this remarkable migration. In Colorado, the tarantula trek has become a local attraction, especially around La Junta and the Comanche National Grassland. Locals recommend heading out about an hour before sunset during mid-September to October for the best chance to see these spiders on the move. Some people have even counted up to 50 tarantulas crossing roads in just 90 minutes. Imagine that sight. Would you stop to watch or hit the gas? But let's clear up a common misconception. Despite the dramatic scenes in old monster movies, like the 1950s cult classic Tarantula, you won't find any house-sized spiders terrorizing towns. Of the 29 tarantula species native to the U.S., most only grow to about 4.5 inches across. And here's a fun fact. The majority of tarantulas you'll see out and about are males. Female tarantulas, according to the National Park Service, are true homebodies, rarely leaving their burrows. Males might live up to a decade, but females can survive for an astonishing 25 years. The journey for male tarantulas is anything but easy. To find a mate, they may travel up to a mile, a huge distance for a spider. Along the way, many fall prey to predators like snakes, owls, and foxes, or are accidentally run over by cars. Some simply die from exhaustion or fail to successfully molt their exoskeleton. As Christy Painter, a wildlife biologist, puts it, you can't help but feel for these little guys. All they want is a mate, and even if they find one, there's a good chance she'll eat him or he'll die soon after. If you're hoping to catch a glimpse of these fascinating creatures, your best bet is to venture out in the middle of the night during the summer months. But here's a word of caution. While tarantulas are not aggressive and rarely bite, it's still wise to keep your distance. Their bite is generally no worse than a bee sting for most people. But those with allergies could have a more serious reaction, and this is where opinions might differ. Should we fear these spiders or appreciate them for the role they play in the ecosystem? Wizzy Brown, an entomology specialist at Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service, advises tarantulas can get cranky if handled roughly, but they usually only bite when provoked. It's best to observe and appreciate them from afar. They're actually beneficial to the environment. But please, don't try to pick up wild tarantulas. So what do you think? Are tarantulas misunderstood gentle giants or do they still give you the creeps? Have you ever encountered one in the wild? Share your thoughts and stories in the comments. Let's see where the debate leads. Tarantula mating season. What you need to know. The Great Tarantula Migration mating season begins. They're hairy, 8-legged, and about to emerge in unprecedented numbers across America. Tarantula mating season has officially kicked off, with the perfect storm of sweltering temperatures and rising humidity levels luring these mysterious arachnids from their underground sanctuaries. But here's what you really need to understand about this fascinating natural phenomenon. Which regions will see these fuzzy visitors? These impressive spiders thrive in warm, moisture-rich environments, primarily establishing themselves throughout the southwestern and western United States. Expect increased tarantula activity across Arizona, California, Texas, New Mexico, Nevada, Utah, Colorado, Oregon, and Washington. These states provide ideal conditions for our 8-legged friends. The peak mating period spans from August through October, when tarantulas particularly appreciate the combination of late summer warmth and elevated atmospheric moisture levels. But here's where it gets interesting. Despite alarming headlines, encounters might be rarer than you think. Should you actually be concerned? While experts throughout the Southwest have issued warnings about imminent waves of tarantulas, Dan McCamish, a senior environmental scientist with California State Parks, offers a more reassuring perspective. Similar to most desert-dwelling creatures during summer months, McCamish explained to USA Today, tarantulas generally operate nocturnally. Unless you're wandering outdoors during the middle of the night, which I wouldn't recommend for general safety reasons, you'll probably never encounter one. What if you do meet a tarantula? If you do find yourself unexpectedly face-to-face with one of these furry arachnids, remaining calm is absolutely essential. No indigenous tarantula species within the United States presents a significant danger to humans, McCamish emphasized. However, it's worth noting that when threatened, tarantulas can deliver a defensive bite, typically producing discomfort comparable to a bee sting. Similar to bee stings, while these bites pose no lasting threat to most individuals, those with spider allergies should exercise particular caution to avoid being bitten. McCamish adds an important perspective. They're docile, ecologically important creatures. Their primary concern during encounters is escaping confrontation, especially with beings they recognize could easily crush them. And this is the part most people miss. These intimidating-looking creatures are actually quite shy and non-aggressive by nature. Experiencing tarantula migrations safely. Tarantula migrations have actually become popular tourist attractions across numerous regions. In communities like La Junta, Colorado, visitors regularly gather approximately 1 hour before sunset to witness these impressive spider processions. The most productive viewing locations are within western and southwestern states, characterized by dry climates. Campgrounds and residential backyards often provide excellent observation opportunities, with the desert blonde tarantula and Texas brown varieties representing the most frequently observed species. Though tarantulas maintain generally gentle dispositions, observing them from a respectful distance remains advisable. Physical contact should be strictly avoided due to the irritating barbed hairs covering their abdomens, which can cause persistent skin irritation upon contact. Furthermore, as McCamish cautioned, maintaining appropriate distance is crucial since the spiders might be protecting egg sacs or engaged in delicate mating behaviors. Do you find these seasonal tarantula migrations fascinating or frightening? Have you ever encountered one of these impressive arachnids in the wild? Share your experiences or questions in the comments below. Terrifying tarantula hordes invade Southwest U.S. What to do if you spot them? Hold on to your hats, folks, because it's tarantula mating season, and that means spider sightings galore. Across several states in the southwestern U.S., you might find yourself face to face with these impressive arachnids. But don't panic. Let's break down what's happening and how to handle these 8-legged visitors. The air is thick with the promise of love and potential danger for the male tarantulas at least. As the weather warms up, tarantulas are on the move, driven by the primal urge to find a mate. This means we're likely to see a surge in sightings, with these usually solitary creatures venturing out in search of romance. States like California, Colorado, Kansas, New Mexico, and Texas are prime locations for this annual spectacle. Imagine tens of thousands of tarantulas, all with one thing on their minds. If you're lucky enough, you can sometimes see them in hordes crossing the roads at certain times of the year, says Dan McCamish, a senior environmental scientist with California State Parks, as reported by USA Today. That's right,